Welcome to Modern Goddess. Here we discuss everything mastering your mindset, wellness wisdom, upgrading your relationships so that you can unleash your divine goddess essence and live your authentic best self every single day. I'm your host, Cassie Aurora. The podcast, and I'm really grateful you're here with me. I am now 30 weeks pregnant, so we're doing well. And honestly, I feel fine. So, I mean, I'm very lucky. I know some people really struggle, but generally I feel well, pretty energized, maybe a little bit more tired, like I could maybe go and take a nap now. But yeah, I'm enjoying just having a little bit more free time and winding down. I'll admit there's definitely been a bit of guilt pop up when I'm like, oh, I could be working now or doing something. But I know that this is like the only rest I'm going to get before there isn't much rest at all. So yeah, and I'm really enjoying just connecting with my soul gym community, having more time to connect with people on Instagram. So, you know, if you do listen to this podcast, please reach out. Don't forget we have a podcast Telegram group. It's like a WhatsApp group for your phone where we all chit chat about astrology and give each other support on those difficult days because everyone has them. And you know, I share lots of little bits in there, playlists and such. So if you haven't joined that Telegram group, because I know there's about 300 of you that listen to this regularly, there's only 20 in the group, so I mean, not all of you are gonna want to join, obviously. However, I'm feeling like maybe some of you might wish to get stuck in. So I wanted to just let you know about that, and all you need to do is if you drop me an email, I can send you the link for the group. So my email is hello@cassieaurora.com, and then I'll send you a little link and you just sign up to that on your phone. Simples. So yeah. And don't forget that there is my free step-by-step guide which you can get, which takes you through reading your chart in a really basic way. You can get that on my website. It's where you, if you went on to like the astrology freebies section at the bottom of the page, you can see it there. I'm pretty sure it's on the home page too, but I'm kind of like trying to share it on all the pages. So hopefully you get that. And make the most of it. I'm trying to actually, I want to ask my web designer, and I forgot to ask her, but I want to get it like a pop-up so that if you are new to the podcast but you don't have that step-by-step guide, you can go to the website and it's really easy. So yeah, exciting. So let's get kind of stuck into this episode. I will be honest, I'm going to do my best to bring you that new moon in Taurus update. I'll probably record it early next week, but you know, who knows when I'm going to go into labour. So I'm just trying to do what I can, and even if I'm not vocal on the podcast and I disappear off the face of the earth for a few days, I'll bring it onto Instagram or something, or as a blog post, and just do it as and when I can. So yeah, but today I wanted to talk about, you know, career and business success, and everyone wants to follow the path, their soul's path, their dharma, and actually for everyone it's different. And so when I say career and business success, it could be that your dharma, your legacy, is not like something business or career related. It could be completely different. It can be that your dharma, as in your astrology chart, your path, your life path, isn't the same path as if you like the same money making path, and that's important to remember. But in order to be fulfilled and more successful, we can look at these things in the chart to really kind of up level in our life, in our business. And I'm going to talk about one thing today, which I could talk about a lot more, and I am going to do a webinar sort of June, July, which goes really deep into business and career astrology. But for now, let's focus on just something that is simple that you can go away and look at. So my question, I guess, is what if I told you you could be even more successful using your chart? And some of you might be like, well, I'm already doing the work, and why do I need my chart? And that's kind of, well, yeah, you don't need your chart to do anything. And sometimes it's like, when you look, how do I actually do it? How am I going to get there? But often awareness is the first key, and then you can start to ask the right teachers to appear, you can ask for the right courses to appear, and the universe always provides the experiences you need, even if it doesn't feel very good at the time. And so it's no different with astrology. We can look at the chart and use it as fuel for our fire, so to speak. So you can be in the right area, in the right niche, but there are things you can do to be even more successful based on your chart. So if you don't have your chart, then I highly recommend using my free calculator on the website or on astro.com. You need to know the degree of your MC. So that's what we're going to work with today, the MC. And the MC will show up on your chart literally sort of towards the top of the chart, the top of the circle, maybe off to the left or the right slightly, and it will say MC. And so you might need to pause the podcast to get that up, to get my free step-by-step guide. And just for today, you don't necessarily need to know the degrees of it, because it will be too complex for me to explain on the podcast, but we can actually go even deeper, which we won't. But if you have your MC, in astrology, the MC is the part of the chart. It's often the cusp of the 10th house, maybe in the 9th house, maybe in the 11th house. It really depends on your chart. But it's the point at the very top of the chart. It's the most public point in your chart. So the MC, the middle of the sky, is really the ultimate elevation. It's the epitome of the personal ambition. It's the what gives us personal fulfillment. So the sign and aspect to the midheaven will determine how successful you are, how fulfilled you are, and what gives you success, whether that's family, money, achievement, fame, etc. It really, really depends. And so the MC is really, what I want you to think of is you have a tree, and the tree, what you can see coming out the ground is the MC. Underneath the soil, the roots of the tree, that's the IC. That's always automatically opposite the MC. So say that your MC was in Virgo, your IC would be in Pisces. If your MC was in Cancer, your IC will be in Capricorn, and so on. So you probably want to have a look at the IC, because I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So the MC is kind of who we are blossoming into, the visible tree, and the IC is the roots, where we have come from. And how that translates into real life is, it's like your past is the IC, your family, your ancestral journey. Like my family roots, I have to learn from that to then blossom into the branches of my tree. And so you will have your own IC, which is representing the themes, which will be the sign of your kind of family karma and where you've come from. And what happens is, for most of us, it can be a bit like a comfort zone. And the challenge really is to balance out the MC and the IC together, so that you can blossom in the society without leaving your past behind. Because a lot of people be like, I don't want to be like my parents, I want to change the karma of my family, but by rejecting them, it's not helping. It's about, you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. So, thinking about the IC, this place that we were before, yeah, it's the things that we've come from. It's kind of what you had in your family. So say your IC was Capricorn, when those roots of the tree are Capricorn in nature, you may have had like a more controlling family, in the sense like, you do this, you get a proper job, I supported your studies, so you'll do what I tell you, and that kind of thing. But your MC is Cancer, and it's completely different. It's like about nurturing others and creating your own family, in terms of like your career. You're creating a new family, you're creating a space where you are able to nurture others, whereas you may have had quite a cold upbringing, cold family, cold parents. It's not that they were necessarily terrible, because we can go deeper and colour this in and get real detail about your chart based on what planet is ruling the IC. But in general, you could have had a more cold upbringing, and so you haven't learned to be emotionally open, which is the Cancer traits, MC. So for these people, for example, they need to understand the coldness of their upbringing, the IC. The roots of the tree are maybe not very emotional, but they actually need to learn that. That's where their excellence comes, and what they're supposed to share out in the world. That is their Cancer midheaven. Emotional. Cancer is the emotional sign. So I hope that kind of makes sense. So your MC is the behavior that you need to embrace, the image that you need to display, the person you need to become, and the IC is where you've come from. It's really who you have been before, the family roots, and understanding where that had its value, but where it's hindering your success. So some people talk about inner child healing, they might talk about past life regression. This is all the IC, and that's useful to know, but what we can't do is dwell on it, and we can't reject it. We have to own it. So remember, if the roots of the tree are rotten, then so will the branches of the tree be rotten. So can you nurture the roots of your being, your family wounds, your kind of ancestral stuff, the things, your issues around your parents? Can you start to awaken to maybe where there's a bit of poison there in the thoughts? That is nurturing the roots of the tree. And then the leaves of the tree will blossom. That's the MC. So the question is, when we want to know a bit more, because we can go really deep into this, is how can you then use your MC to create like your unique mission statement? So think about your MC as your career, so I want you to first find out your MC. You may know it by now. Find out your IC as well. You might want to pause this, or just go away and reflect on, learn everything you can about the sign of your MC. So for me, it's Virgo. So I learn all I can about Virgo, and those traits of Virgo. Yours might be Leo. So it's learning about Leo things. What is that? What are you here to do then? And of course, we can go deeper, which we will do in the future in the webinar, and look at, okay, well, where's the ruling planet of the MC? And we can start to learn even more about how to be even more successful. But once you know this MC, I want you to also look at your IC and think about the things that maybe you need to let go of, because that is useful to know. It's going to help you to understand what you've inherited from your roots, but also, there's things that you can keep. But when it comes to your business, your niche, your mission in life, your goals, your dharma, it's really great to think about how can you have your own mission statement. So the mind is this character that needs definite statements and goals about where it's heading. So there's nothing wrong with saying a goal and then changing it. There's nothing wrong with having a play with your mission statements. And it's something really deep. So it's a place of triumph. What do you really want to become successful? What would give you a sense of success? For me, my mission statement isn't fully defined yet, but I love to teach entrepreneurs how to use all of the tools, the the astrology, the energetics, the actual business stuff, the marketing, to create effortless abundance and structure, and then they're basically creating their own freedom in their life. And that mission statement is really in line with my MC. But you might have your own. Yours might be a Leo MC. I'm here to shine as the individual nutritional therapist that I am, or I don't know, something like that. But it's really helpful for you to understand what is it you really want to stand for. So think about that game plan that your MC is telling you based on those astrological themes. What is that? And so, yeah, you may have inherited some good skills from your parents, but what is it you really want to do as your mission? And when you know the sign of your MC, you can elaborate on that. So I think it's important that you go away and craft a mission statement. And for me, it's really about serving people to find their own freedom, because it's so crucial, helping people to be the best they can be. And my vehicle is astrology and coaching, but, you might have your whole own other thing. So if you want to create a mission statement and then share it with me, I would love to hear that. But yes, so there are those themes for you. I hope that as you look at your MC, you can start to really gather what it is that sign embodies. So just Google all about that sign. Or if you're doing my Astrological Basics course, if you've got my free step-by-step guide, that will have some basic stuff in there that you can get stuck into. So start there. Now, when we go a bit deeper, and maybe you know your moon sign. If you don't, you can leave this. Knowing the MC is enough. But it's useful to think about the moon and the MC. So if your moon sign is your emotional needs, your primary needs, your habits formed in childhood, is that in line with your MC? Now for me, mine is not. So my moon is Aries, which is all about me. It is an entrepreneurial energy. It is someone who is a go-getter. They want to get out there and make something of themselves. There's more to it than that. But Virgo is about serving everyone else, humanity, service, cleaning up people. It's the more the projector energy. So my emotional needs and my MC don't match. So I have to make sure that in order to be successful and look after myself and to look after my MC and be the best that I can be, is that I also take time to formulate a life that helps me nurture my moon as well as my MC, but also finding ways that I can embody both. So for me, I could be a Virgo, and I worked in lots of jobs where I was looking after others, and my Virgo was met. I was looking after yoga studios, teaching yoga, doing health, personal training, looking after children, teaching children, and I still love all of those things, but I have to be an entrepreneur. The minute I work for someone else, I can't do it. And so because Aries is a leader, my moon sign needs to be, this is the cat trying to get out, hang on. Oh God. Uno momento. She's gone. But yeah, I have to find a way that they can both work together. So you might want to think, what's my moon sign and where is it? So find out, you can look at the house of your moon sign as well. I would advise, if you're a bit newer to astrology, please don't plague yourself with trying to learn it all. Sometimes less is more. So if your moon sign, for example, was Pisces, those are your needs, the Pisces things, to have space, to be able to have regular retreating, escaping, daily meditations, it's all the spiritual stuff, to be in a position where you're healing and helping people, and to be held and healed and helped yourself. That's important. I could do a whole podcast on Pisces energy and how we can really get lost in it. And I would say that if you're part of the Modern Goddess podcast group on the Telegram, you can always ask me, about the signs, and I love to talk about them. No one's asked me yet, but there's just so much I could talk about for each sign. Let me know if that's something you'd want me to talk about. But it would take hours and hours, so don't even do it in my Astrology Basics course. We'd be there for days, and I still like to learn about the signs. But anyway, your moon, those are your primary needs and the habits you have. And that needs to be fulfilled. You can't just negate your innermost needs, because at the end of the day, they're there for a reason. But it's about graduating from them and using them, but not letting them define you. So yeah, you might have those Pisces moon needs, but your midheaven could be like let me think, what could the midheaven be? Something like Capricorn, which is like a go-getter, hard-working energy, very matter-of-fact, very realistic. There is a deep spiritual nature to Capricorn, but see how they may not necessarily marry. So you would want a way to look after your emotional needs, that's the moon sign that you have, and to then step into the midheaven. So think about the MC being this place that we are trying to get to. The moon is where we are, what we've kind of formed in childhood. The IC is kind of like our subconscious stuff from our parents as well. So it's very similar to the moon, but not completely. And what we want to do is not to be in one or the other. It's trying to integrate it all and not saying, well, I'm like this because of my moon, or my moon says this and then I should do more of that. What about the MC? How could you blend the MC and the moon together? So maybe sit down, write down all the qualities of your MC sign, all the qualities of your moon sign, and look at some of the qualities of the IC sign and see where there were themes in your family or not. It may be hard if you're quite new to astrology, but still, if you can't, don't worry about focusing on the IC. Focus more on the moon and the MC, and this will help you a lot. So this is like a very basic layer of how I will be working with entrepreneurs in the summer. I actually do my deep dive astrology intensive for entrepreneurs, which is all about business and financial astrology. I've actually got a new teacher who's teaching me loads of new techniques, but this is like 0.1% of where you can start going. So I would really be interested to see what your MC is, and I would love to hear about it. And I'm going to just share with you very briefly, I'm not going to go sign by sign because we'll be here forever, just a few of the modalities. So if your MC is in an air sign, that's Aquarius, Libra or Gemini, you definitely have lots of ideas. And it's really important because you are like usually academic, clever, intelligent. It's really about, what can happen is a lot of talk and no action, talking about ideas but them not manifesting. So it's helpful to have Earth or find someone that has Earth to help you. So really be careful that you don't lack the skills or motivation to make things happen when you have a lot of air in your chart. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you have ideas but don't know how to execute them. The air signs, I've actually done a lot more of this on my Instagram, but that's kind of like a few little things about the air midheaven. Communicate, blog, podcast, share ideas, it's all of those things. But if you've got my free step-by-step guide, look at the signs, that will give you more info. And if you're doing astrology basics, you know that we go through sign by sign anyway. So air signs, be vocal, use your mind, use ideas, network, all of those things you're here to do, so do them. Earth signs, MCs, it's more about less ideas, but when the ideas come, they can be very genius. They're very practical. It's about coming up with practical solutions, having financials and security, and really helping other people to do the same. It's, you are going to be someone that creates containment and structure. So there's a need for a comfortable living. And generally earth signs in the MC do really well with business. They've got like a natural business ability and common sense. So earth signs, you're kind of born for business, but try not to get so caught up in the doing and the practical that you forget about your moon sign, your emotional needs, or any water emotion. Sometimes we forget about what's beyond the earth. And then there's water signs. So water signs, these are the natural healers of the zodiac. They're emotionally charged, intuitive. They're really good for investigating, looking deeply, at the world. They can heal others. They can heal themselves. What can happen with water sign MCs? They want to save the world so much and save people, but they haven't yet saved themselves. And it can be that there needs to be some sort of, what's the word I want to use? Some sort of approach to just not having it's like the classic empath. If your MC is a water sign, you're not doing anything healing, you're going to get poorly or sick. You need to be stepping into a healing thing that allows you to heal and nurture others, create family, help others. So yeah, you'll want to gain wisdom, and water signs always do, but you are very sensitive, so make sure you're taking regular time out. We could go into it for each sign, it would be so much more specific, but it's very important you embody the best of those the water energy. So learn about water energy, learn about your MC. And then the fire signs, they're here to be the motivators, the enthusiasts. They can be the inspirationers. They can light everyone up, so to speak, and they're really good at inspiring and being leaders. They can get things going, they have a fire in their belly. I can think of people that I'm like, oh, they must have a fire mid-heaven. And it's great. We need people like that to motivate and get other people going and to light them up. So if you have fire in the mid-heaven and you're kind of just working an office job where you don't have any leadership, or maybe you just feel like you don't get to step into that fiery, you're kind of just one-to-one and you're not really leading and having your voice out there, maybe it's time to think about how can you be more motivational. Often with fire signs, it's say that there could be a water sign opposite it, or an air sign opposite the fire sign, in the IC, in the root of the chart, which is kind of saying a different thing. So it can be a little bit harder, say, for not a water sign, sorry. So fire signs will have an air sign opposite them. And so it can be, a little bit harder. Maybe you're not sure about how to execute and put things into action. So with that fire midheaven, I would just suggest, doing your very best to think about inspiration, spreading passion, spreading ideas. It's really about having a fire in your belly. But go away, write down your MC, write down your moon, write down your IC, let me know, maybe craft a mission statement. And like I say, this is only 0.1% of the information that you could learn. And I'll be bringing, when I come back to sharing webinars and such in the summer, I'll definitely be sharing a lot more to help you use astrology to be even more successful in your life and your business, to use it to actually get further with less effort. Because let's face it, there's no need making life harder for yourself when you can just step into alignment and everything just falls into place. It's not to say that life won't have tests, because it will, but I can assure you it'll be much easier. So there's no need to suffer. And so let me know what you think of this episode. If you know anyone that would benefit from it, please share it with them. I would love to hear from you what your mission statement is, your MC is. Just drop me an email to hello@cassieaurora.com or on Instagram. But you can go a lot deeper than we've gone today. But hopefully for some of you who are a little bit newer to astrology, you can learn a little bit about your dharma, what you came here to do and be and succeed at, because you not doing that is denying the world your greatest gifts. So step into them, share who you're meant to be, because everyone benefits, you and everyone else. So have a good week, and unless I go into labour, I'll be back with another astrology update next week. Take it easy, and I hope that you get lots of nice rest this weekend. Thank you so much.